Hello, hello, what is going on, ladies, gentlemen, and others? It is your number one fan, Kuro. How are you doing today? If you are not having a good day today, if today is the worst day ever, I want you to remember that if today is the worst day ever, tomorrow is automatically better, alright? So let's keep some positive energy, let's have a great day together. Today, I've got a stamina DK build for you guys, okay? You guys have seen it before, I've posted a million of them, but this one is the one that I've been running the past few weeks, and the one that I'm going to be playing through Waking Flame. It is probably the most meta setup that you can acquire on a sword and board style DK, such as this. So you may have seen it before, just because this is the best combination of sets, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So we're going to get into it in just a minute, but before we do, remember to subscribe. If you like builds, if you like gameplay, if you like commentary, definitely hit that bell, join my Discord, follow me on Twitch. If you like to throw money at YouTubers on the internet, I do have a Patreon, you can support me there. Aside from that, if you like gameplay, I've got gameplay of this build up on my channel, link in the description and pinned comment if you want to check it out. This is not going to be a gameplay heavy video, this is just a build with a lot of information. So if you like to absorb good information, that's what we're going to do today. That's what we've got prepared for you. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and dive right on in to the build here by starting with the stats. Taking a look here, 5k weapon damage. We do get over 30k resist when our blood spawn procs. Stamina recovers at almost 2.3k, which is very nice. 30k HP, 31.5k stam, 16k almost magicka. Pretty strong stats across the board. Very nice, very beginner friendly, and it feels good. Feels good. You can mess with stuff. Lots of options. We'll go over them all. Don't worry. This is gonna be a very in-depth build. The race for this character is Nord. And if you do not want to play Nord, the other best option would be Imperial. I'd say they're about tied, but I prefer Nord because you get to be a little bit tankier, you get more ult gen, and I guess you get frost resistance, but that's useless. But yeah, those are the two races I would recommend. Nord number 1, Imperial number 2. Imperial will have overall better sustain, I believe, but Nord, I feel, just matches my playstyle a little bit more because we get to ultimate a lot more frequently. When it comes to Mundus Stone, I'm using the Serpent, and for food, I'm using Artaeum Takeaway Broth. We'll go over this later. These two give us ridiculous amounts of sustain. Artaeum Takeaway Broth kind of pricey, though, just saying. If you want more damage, you can definitely go Weapon Damage Mundus here. And the Sugar Skulls here. Sugar Skulls gives us more stam, more health, more mag. Very, very, very nice food. Mix it up however you want. You can go full damage, you can go full sustain. I've just realized that why play with 900 recovery if you don't have to, and you can still get the same amount of damage just about. So that's what I've been doing, messing with it. Both are good. Sometimes I play with 900 recovery, and I survive, I still X. It is what it is. Just mess with it, find your comfort zone. But you're definitely going to want to be a Vampire Stage 3. You can play without it, but I highly do not recommend it, because this is the only real thing giving us tankiness, aside from being a Nord and being on a sword and board bar. So, it's amazing. Like, the sustain problems, they're not really noticeable. You're fine. It's going to be okay. Just learn to heavy attack, and you're golden. And sorry if I sound like I'm dying. I'm just like, my body is trying to burp extremely hard, and I'm trying to hold it in because I'm a professional, okay? I'm doing this whole video thing, but it wants to happen. So if I rip a fucking nasty, grotesque burp at some point during this video, I'm apologizing in advance, okay? But now that is taken care of, let's take a look at the gear that I'm using. On the 2H bar, we are using Vatashran's Maul Perfected. Why, you ask? I doubt you ask, because you know what this is already. I know you do, but if you don't, this gives us up to 200 something weapon damage, giving us a little bit more every time we use a stamina ability while we have our momentum active, so that's more damage, more healing, and also gives us a nice fat AoE direct damage proc, which is also very nice. Plays into this playstyle very well. The fact that it's AoE, also very nice, and it supplements the kind of lower damage playstyle that we are playing with a nice strong burst combo. So, highly recommend that. I know a lot of you guys that watch my videos like my videos because I don't use stuff like this usually. I've seen people say, please don't, just don't make any builds with like Vatishran 2H or anything, no meta. Look guys, I've seen the light, I've played with it, it's easy to get, stop being that guy and just go get it. I promise you guys, it's worth it. It does take a little bit of time, but it's worth it. It's good. It's a good set. I like it. Use it. Please. We're using Sharpened Maul just to get the most damage from 2H bar. Of course, obviously, typical 2H stuff. And we're using weapon damage enchant to give us more weapon damage across both bars for more healing, more dot damage, more pressure. On the sword and board bar, I have an axe of agility. Doesn't matter what one-handed weapon it is, as long as it is Nern honed. If you don't know what agility does, 1, you probably should stop living under a rock, and 2, it gives stam and weapon damage in droves. Very nice 3-piece set here. And then on the shield, I have Daedric Trickery, Sturdy, Stamina Enchantment. This gives health, stam, mag, as well as one of 5 buffs. We can have 3 of them active all at the same time. The buffs are Expedition, Protection, Mending, Heroism, and Vitality, Healing, Tanky, Speed, Ult. All things that DK loves, because DK has no legs, we need that speed. DK loves Ultimate, DK loves healing, and who doesn't like a little bit of protection? Great set, DK staple. Use this bad boy, you won't regret it. We'll talk about poisons later, because we have a good couple of options for you that I want to go over. When it comes to monster set, we're using Bloodspawn, again, quintessential stamina DK set right here, stamina recov, as well as some armor, and big boy ulti gen. So between the major heroism from this, being a Nord, having Bloodspawn, and being a DK, who does naturally get pretty decent ult gen already, we get to ult every 20 or 30 seconds. It's very, very strong. Very nice combo of sets, race, everything working together here. Super, super nice. On my legs, I have Trainee, while everything else is filled in with Trickery. So we've got 4-piece Trickery on the body with 1 on the shield. That's where we're getting our 5-piece Trickery. So it's only active on the sword and board bar, or on the sword and board bar almost all the time. Down to the jewelry, we're using 2 agility on the jewelry, which means we get our stamina bonus at all times, and weapon damage on our sword and board bar, which remember is the offensive bar. And then Malakath's Band of Brutality. So yeah, that is the gear. Those are the sets that I'm using. I know some of you guys are gonna look at Malakath and be like, ew, that's a carry, or no one uses that anymore, everyone's using 5-piece sets. Okay, let's talk about that. If you really want to get technical, what I'm using is a 5-piece set. Malakath, 3 agility and 1 trainee, that's 5 pieces, and it gives better bonuses than any 5-piece set in the game. 1,732 stamina is more than a regular stamina bonus. Same thing with weapon damage here, same thing with health here, and you are hard pressed to find a set that gives anywhere near as much raw damage as Malakath. So this is essentially a nice 5-piece set that we are wearing. However, if you do not have Malakath, if you do not want to go farm Malakath, there is an option for you. There is a light at the end of the tunnel that you could replace this stuff with and get close to the same numbers with a few caveats. And that set would be Essence Thief. Bam, here it is on screen. Gives us stam, weapon damage, and then when we do damage or take damage or something, we spawn a little thing on the ground, and we stand in it, we get some health, we get some stam, which is quite a lot of stam. If you get it on cooldown, which you won't, but if you do, that's roughly like 800 stamina recovery worth of free stamina. Very, very nice. And it gives us 10% damage done. Not as much as Malakath. Your numbers are not going to be as high stats-wise on the with Essence Thief versus the agility and trainee and all that, but it's close. It's very close, and we get the additional sustain, and if we're not using Malakath, we do get the benefit of having crits. So if you crit a leap that would have hit for 12k, you'll hit 16, 17, 18k now, which is nice, but we have low crit, so you can't really count on that, but it can happen. It does happen. It's nice, so you could even do that even if you have Malakath. Find what you prefer. When it comes to our traits, we are using 3 infused on the jewelry, and for the armor, I like 1 reinforced on the chest, and then I use everything else sturdy. I just don't have a sturdy shoulder right now. I haven't transmuted anything. I'm too lazy, but that is the move. Sturdy is nice because excuse me, because blocking is life, literally. When it comes to enchants, I'm using all weapon damage on my jewelry. And here, I like to do tries on my big pieces, Stam on my smaller pieces, but I have them a little mixed up at the moment. You can mix them up however you want. You can go all try to get a nice robust everything, which is definitely an option. It's just kind of expensive. That is up to you. And also, one quick little note about the jewelry. If you want more speed, by all means, go to Swift. If you have 2 gold Swift on, that is 14% movement speed at all times, at the cost of about 200 weapon damage. Very good trade-off, gives you some legs on the slow-ass DK, and lets you move around freely. Last thing I'll touch on is the weights for the armor, because this is highly customizable, because everything here comes in every possible weight. Currently using 4 heavy, 3 medium. Medium gives reduced dodge roll cost, reduced block cost. Both of those things are pretty expensive, especially dodge roll when we're running heavy, so getting reduction to those is super awesome. And heavy gives us more tankiness, it gives us more sustain through constitution, through heavy attacks, and more healing too. It's just nice. You can mix it up however you want. I've done 6 heavy, 1 medium, I've done 4 medium, 3 heavy. Next patch, I'm going to do 3 heavy, 3 medium, 1 light to get the Undaunted bonus, as well as a little bit of extra pen through the light armor. Get a nice balance there, it's going to be really cool. But again, mix it up, find what you prefer. You want to be tankier, go more heavy. Want more damage, go medium. And yeah, there we go. That is it for the gear. Over into the skills, we're going to go over what I'm using currently, and then I'll go over some options to change stuff up with, because there's quite a lot to talk about here, okay? It's going to be quite informative. Resolving Vigor, you already know what this does. Main heal. Use this first before anything else when you are in danger, and you will not regret it. It's a very bad habit to get into, to start casting Cauterize first, because sometimes it doesn't heal you high enough and you've wasted a whole second. You're going to have to recast it. When you could have casted Vigor first, gotten just about as much healing from 1 tick of Vigor as you get from a Cauterize, but now when you Cauterize, you're going to get another tick of Vigor, and you're going to get a Cauterize. Do it again, a Vigor, and a Cauterize. So please, remember, Vigor first. Unless, one caveat, if you are at like 10% HP and about to die, Green Dragon Blood. This thing is an incredible burst heal when you are at low HP. You want to pre-buff each fight with this because it has some very good buffs, including Vitality, which is 8% extra healing, which is nice. We like healing. We're at DK. We thrive on that shit. And again, good burst heal. Do not use this if you are above, say, 40% HP unless you are rebuffing. If you use it when you are not low HP, you are wasting an absolutely insane amount of magicka for no reason. Make sure to save this for when you are about to die or when it wears off. That is a very important thing to keep in mind when playing this build. Reverberating Bash. This is our main stun, and by main stun I mean our only stun. Actually, I lied. We do have another one. But as you can see... Hello? Where's my weapon damage? Hello? What the hell? Something happened. Oh. I was about to say, I set everything up, you know, I got all this stuff together, I just have the wrong fucking... I forgot to change my jewelry back. So with all weapon damage here, you can see reverb, 6k when they go down, 6k when they come back up. That is a 12k tooltip on a stun. Burstiest stun in the game, no doubt, unless we're talking about ultimates. Super strong, it procs our poisons for extra burst, it procs Sundered through physical damage, which is extra burst, and armor reduction. Awesome ability, love it. You guys know I did the power slam thing for a while, but honestly, going back to reverb feels so good. It feels right. It's amazing. Cauterize, super essential skill on Stam DK for outnumbered and small group and just staying alive in general. Gives us nice strong heals. You can spam this. Heals us over time, very gradually, very helpful. It makes us not die. We love this. Also gives us a little bit of spell crit. So that means our Green Dragon Bloods, our Cauterizes will crit more often for bigger heals. Gotta love it. And then for my spammable, I am using Stone Giant. Now you may be looking at me like a psychopath right now. You're like, you're using Poop Rock? Yes, I am using Poop Rock. Let's talk about why. Look at the damage. On the AoE portion of Poop Rock, 11k. On the single target portion of Poop Rock, 12k. That is big damage for a spammable on a sword and board bar. very big damage, and I like it. Okay, also gives stagger, that's fine. It also stuns. The stun on this is kind of a pain in the ass. This skill needs a rework. It needs to get fixed. It's not the best right now, but in its current state, it's still fun to use. Gives you some range as well. So if someone is ticking with dots and trying to run away, you can throw a couple rocks at the back of their fucking head, and they'll fall over and die. And it's great. It's awesome. You gotta love it. So yeah, it also procs our Earth and Heart passive, the most important one here, which gives us minor brutality for 10% extra weapon damage, and it gives us 3 ultimate every 6 seconds. So faster ults, more weapon damage for healing, and offense. What more could you want? For my ultimate on my sword and board bar, I typically run Spell Wall, and if you don't know why, let me show you. Yes, that is why we like it. It is a bit of a hybrid between offense and defense, which a lot of the stuff we have here is. It's kind of what this build is all about. But if you have some ranged attackers on you, snipers, sorks, mag blades, what have you, you will bounce their shit back at them, make them remove their own hairline from the back to the front, and throw it on the ground. And it's great. It's awesome. And it protects you from being attacked. It's pretty cheap, so that's good for our battle roar. You can do heavy attacks when you're in it if you're low HP. Super awesome defensive and offensive ultimate here. When you're in this, you can go full nuts to butts on somebody, absolutely rip their teeth out. It's nice. Gotta love Spell Wall. On to the front bar. Forward momentum. Major brutality. Amazing. We want that. 20% extra weapon damage. Minor endurance, 15% extra stamina recovery, super nice. And it gives us 4 seconds of snare immunity to give us some freedom of movement. If you want, you can use rally, but remember that your movement will be impeded. You'll have to dodge roll more, you'll have to be a lot more careful with your positioning, but you will have much better healing because rally is very strong. And I do actually have a tip for using rally that I'll talk about in a minute here. Noxious Breath, this is our armor debuff, as well as a nice strong AoE dot that affects everybody. Let's buff it up real quick. As you can see, we got 8k on the initial, 14k damage over 14 seconds. Pretty good, pretty good. Not much else to say about this besides it's direct, it'll pull Night Blades out of stealth, even with the changes, and it's a fun skill to use. It looks badass too. I mean, who doesn't like spitting green fire? It's awesome. Armor buff, we are using hardened armor this patch because volatile armor no longer pulls Night Blades out of stealth, which is an annoyance, so I just don't even really see the point in using it. So I'm using hardened just to get a little bit of shielding that's basically free health. Very nice, especially when you're blocking. It makes you a little bit tankier. Executioner, of course, this is our kill button. You know, when someone's at low HP, pop him in the cranium with one of these, send him to hell, and game over. Easy. And then Venomous Claw. This is our most important skill offensively, in my opinion. This and Reverb combined. This has an absolutely incredible dot. 18.5k damage over 14 seconds, which does go up when we are on our sword and board bar to almost 20k every 14 seconds. Increases in damage over time, and it also applies poison for an additional dot. Super strong. Put this on the squishy guy, watch his health go away. If there's no healer and he's not healing himself, he'll basically be dead in a couple seconds, and you can just slap him in the face with the reverb, execute him, and it's over. Offensive ultimate. You got 3 choices. Let's talk about them. You got Take Flight. Typical DK move right here. Super high burst, a little bit of mobility, and it looks badass. One of the best looking abilities in the game. 22k tooltip, not incredible on this build, but solid. And we do get some good pen on this bar as well. So, super great option. You can also use Dawnbreaker, which in my opinion is a better ultimate offensively than Leap, because it does more damage than Leap. Simply, that's it. 16k initial, not more burst than Leap, but almost 20k dot afterwards. Altogether, we're looking at almost 40k damage on this ultimate versus Leap, which is amazing. If you've got somebody dotted up, you hit them with a Dawnbreaker and they don't heal through the 3 or 4 incredibly powerful dots they have on them, they will die. I like this better than Leap. The only thing about it that I dislike is that it doesn't give you that movement that Leap gets, and it's pretty easy to miss. But I do still really love it. The way I usually do it is I use Dawnbreaker when I'm in IC and there's a lot more cramped spaces, and leap when I'm in open world where there's a lot more open space, you know, free terrain. And then, lastly, my favorite option, corrosive armor. This is an incredible ability, makes us super tanky, gives us an extra dot, which is an AoE around us, and it makes us ignore all enemy resistances, which is super strong, okay? Because you're going to crack people's fucking nuts with this thing. Let's go ahead and buff up our damage. Look at the dot. The dot is actually respectable at 1400 every second. Not bad. But remember, this is ignore all enemies, physical resistance, and spell resist in the next patch when it changes over, using direct damage attacks. Remember that we do have mostly direct damage, aside from a few dots. Now the thing is, with this, you have to be smart. You have to combo this. My primary combo that I like to do, especially outnumbered, is I will prepare myself a fully stacked up Vatishram. 5 stacks, so I've got the burst ready. Then I will activate corrosive armor and do a heavy attack to proc the Vatishram into the first use of Stone Fist, which again is AoE. So that is 2 very potent direct damage AoEs going through all of your target's physical resistance. If you've got 3 or 4 people on you, if they're squishy, they're going to go down to like 20% health. You can then swap bar, breath into all of them if you want to, execute somebody, reverb somebody, whatever you want to do. That is my primary offensive move when it comes to using corrosive. It's a very strong combo. And that basically covers the skills. We're going to talk about a few flexes now. When it comes to the ults, you can mix it up however you want to. If you would like to have a more consistent offensive ultimate that costs a little bit less, you could throw corrosive on the back and then leap on the front, or Dawnbreaker on the front, whatever you want to do. And that way you'll get the nice, strong defensive offensive ultimate here, because like I said, it is defensive. It does keep you alive. Very good choice. But you will notice not having Spell Wall, because Spell Wall is a much cheaper defensive option, and it is very useful in a lot of situations. So find your comfort zone with those. And then we do have the issue of spammable. Another choice you have, if you don't like using the Poop Rock, you can definitely use Deep Slash. Deep Slash does not hit anywhere near as hard as Poop Rock, and since it is AoE, it gets reduced by evasion by 20% or more. It sucks, but it is undodgeable, and it is AoE, so it hits everyone around you every time you cast it. It does lower their movement speed, so it's easier to stay on top of them, and applies minor maim to everyone you hit, so it makes you tankier, essentially. Very nice skill. Definitely love it. And if you want to still get your Earth and Heart passives, that being the ulti gem and the extra weapon damage, you can throw on Fragmented Shield. Is this as good as Green Dragon Blood? I do not think so. I think Green Dragon Blood is altogether a better ability, but this one is still very useful. And it also procs a helping hands, which Stone Giant does not do, because they had to change that, because Stone Giant costed way too little when using helping hands. So what this does, gives us a little shield, gives us uptime on our major mending, even if we don't have it through our Daedric Trickery, which is nice. Little tiny damage shield. It gives us weapon damage, ult, and some stam back. So if you're blocking, if you've got a full Magicka bar, you could dump 2 or 3 fragmented shields and get back about 3,000 or 4,000 stamina. It's very helpful. And you have the Deep Slash as well. Also, another choice you have, you could always use Fossilize and keep the Green Dragon Blood. That will give you your Earth and Heart passives on this. And if you want to, you could throw on Power Slam instead of Deep Slash or Reverberating Bash. Because if you guys know me, you know I love my Power Slam. It's a great skill. But yeah, that's it for the skills. That's everything I've got to talk about there. Lastly, well, not lastly, but almost lastly, let's talk about consumables, that being food, potions, poisons. We're going to start with poisons, because it's right here. Poisons are essential on this build, I find. There are 3 that I would recommend you trying out and finding which one you like the most. First off, straight up double dot. This is the most damage available in a poison. It lasts for a long time, 2 different things of poison. They both proc and do 2 things of damage instantly, so that's a lot of additional burst when it does proc. Super oppressive, great poisons. Then we have my favorite, which are the double dot, double hot. Again, it applies 2 things of damage for less time, of course, but it also heals us for the same amount of damage, essentially. So this gives us more damage and more healing. Who doesn't like damage and healing? It's great. Then, this one is one that I've been trying out recently. It's pretty good. Not exactly my favorite, but some of you guys might like it a little bit more. This gives us immobilization on our targets and gives us immovability, making you immune to stuns and knockbacks for 1.6 seconds. Not a lot of time, but it can help. And it gives us 1 hot and dot, so more damage, a little bit of healing, and it drains stamina, making their abilities cost more and giving us back a little bit of extra stamina for additional sustain. Very nice, strong poisons. You should have seen all of those recipes up on screen. Going into potions, let's talk about these. One, for sure, you want to have the tech pots this patch, because night blades are the worst, and they got rid of so many of our ways to find them. So you want some kind of detect pot. The best detect pot you can have on stamina will be these, right here. Gives you immobilization, or what's it called? Gives you immovable, gives you stealth detect, and gives you back some stam, so you can go offensive and chase them down. These are very expensive, as you can see. The Chorus eggs, they cost quite a lot. But if you got the money, definitely get these. If not, use whatever kind of detect pot you want. Then, of course, we have the usual tri-potions. Amazing potions. Always want to have some of these when you're PvPing. Then we have immovability potions. Gives us immovability for 10 seconds. Lets us go offensive freely, as well as some health and some stamina. Very essential potions. I don't use them as much myself, just because I've gotten more used to using tripods. But if you master using immovability potions, you can be a real monster, because not being able to be stunned for 10 seconds when you want to kill somebody is very effective. And then lastly, these are a new one. What is this? Yeah, okay. These are a new one that I've recently added to the repertoire, and they are Essence of Invisibility. Any invisibility potion you can get is nice, because sometimes, especially on Stam DK, which has no real movement at all, you find a fight that you can't fucking win. There's 40 people that are all gonna chase you down. Do you really want to walk 500 fucking miles to get back to the fight? No, you don't. Duck the fight, swallow your pride, take a quick invis pot, reposition yourself, and you're good to go. So yeah, I definitely recommend keeping all of these potions on you, at least a few of each. Trust me, you will not regret it. It's super awesome. Now lastly, we do have food. Again, I mentioned this before, Artaeum takeaway broth for more sustain. However, Bewitched Sugar Skulls gives you more damage, more health, and better Magicka sustain, because we have a higher Magicka pool, and that is actually very helpful as well, because it means you can cauterize more, means you can green dragon blood more, and it's very helpful. And if you're using Fragmented Shield, you can use more Fragmented Shields to get back more stamina. So in a way, kind of additional stam sustain there. And then, since we're a vampire, we do have Bloody Mars, Corrupting and Purifying, both on us at the same time. This is optional. I just like them. It's super helpful. So that way I don't have to go and feed every fucking couple hours. And lets me PvP uninterrupted. So yeah, that's it for those. Now for champion points, we're going to go over those real quick. Disclaimer, I am on Xbox. I'm on console. Console will not get the DLC for a very extended period of time. So if you were a console player like me, these CP are for you. I will go over PC CP for the next patch right after this, okay? Because I have the PTS, we will go and take a look at them. Green CP, none of this shit matters. However, I would get the reduced fall damage CP, as well as these two up here. Additional mount speed and mount, whatever it's called. Super nice. Offensive CP, we are using single target attack CP and direct damage CP. You don't need .cp. Some people are like, should I use .cp? Because I know we have a lot of dots. No, you don't need them. It's not important. What you do want is the single target attack CP, because you might not know it, but single target CP does actually increase our dot damage as well, which is awesome. And it increases our reverb damage, our stone fist damage, our light attacks, all that good stuff. And direct damage attacks, this is for our burst, our stone fists, our deep slash if we're using it, reverb, all that good stuff. Light attacks, bashes, everything by the direct damage, super helpful, highly recommend it. When it comes to defense, we are using the single target attack as opposed to AoE. I have said before that there's mostly AoE damage in Cyrodiil, but the thing is, on this build I block more often than not, so the biggest problem is dots. Okay? Dots are a pain in the ass on a block build because they still do damage to you. This reduces that damage by 10%, as well as reducing single target burst. That is the best choice for this kind of build, in my opinion, this patch. And then, for the other blue CP, increase healing done with single target heals by 2% per stage. This is a green dragon blood, our cauterize, our vigor. If you have rally, you rally. Okay? And then just get all of these as you can, like all the little bonuses. These are whatever. Who cares about those? We're only going over slottables. That's the important stuff. For the red, in this patch, I am using max health, 1,400 health here. I'm using the recovery, because who doesn't love a little bit of extra magicka and stamina recovery? Very nice. I am using Juggernaut, which gives us 10% damage mitigation while in CC immunity, and I am using Survival Instincts, which reduces the cost of our roll dodges, our sprints, our blocks by 25% when we are under the effect of a status effect, which is most of the time when we're outnumbered. So this is super awesome for our sustain. And of course, the most important of the little passives here is everything over here in the block tree. Everything else after that, you just kind of, grab it as you can. As you can see, I've got extra points I don't even put in because none of this shit really matters. So just stick them where you can. The slottables are the most important thing. And yeah, that does it for CP for Blackwood. Let's go ahead and take a look at CP for the new patch, which I always forget the fucking name of. Let's go take a look. Alright, so over here on the Waking Flame PTS, I've gone ahead and plugged in my CP with the new changes. There's not really much. There's only two primary differences. I know I talked up why I like the single target CP, but the brand new Ironclad, which reduces all direct damage, I feel slightly outweighs it. While before you had to focus on either all AoE direct or all single target direct, that made, in my opinion, reducing the unblockable things through the single target more effective, but now you can reduce all direct damage with 1 CP, so I feel like this outweighs that. So all the Dawn Breakers, all of the Necro Bombs, all of the Crystal Frags, all of the Snipes, all of the Surprise Attacks, everything with this 1 CP, and that's very good. That is replacing our single target reduction CP from before. Everything else in the blue stays the same. And then in the red, again, only one major difference. I have dropped Rejuvenation, because they did nerf it. And I have picked up, instead, Pain's Refuge, which gives us a ridiculous amount of damage mitigation depending on how many negative effects are on us. And since we like to play outnumbered on this build, unless you're not playing outnumbered, but even then, you're still going to have quite a few effects on you, because that's just the nature of PvP. This will give you 1% mitigation per effect. If you've got 7-8 people on you, you're going to easily have 10-15% mitigation just from this CP. Very, very effective. Now we are still using Juggernaut, but it did get cut in half for this patch. If you don't like that, you could pick up Relentlessness instead, which gives us major protection for 3 seconds after breaking free, which is, I believe, there's 7 seconds in stun immunity, so that's 3 out of the 7 seconds. You got 4 seconds of downtime. The downside to this is that while it is more defense, we do have major protection in the build. So if you get major protection from trickery and then you get this is essentially a wasted CP. So that's why I like to just keep the consistent 5%. Not as crazy, but with the new Pain's Refuge, with the changes to Battle Spirit, will still have plenty of damage mitigation. And yeah, that's it. Just, again, as many of the little yellow stars, the non-slottables, as you can get, honestly. All the block ones, these are your priorities, including the one hiding in here. I'm going to get all those first, and then just fill in everything else as you can. And that's it for the CP for Waking Flame. Yeah, and that does it, guys. That is it for this build video. I know it was long, it was more of a guide than a build, but I hope you guys learned at least a little something. I hope it was helpful to you in some way, and yeah, that's all I've really got to say. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. If you decide to run this build, let me know. If you think the build is garbage, if you think everything I said was stupid and smelly, let me know. Again, I love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Goodbye.